Everybody? It's your boy Tino here. I don't know why that every time we start, every time it like freezes for a second. But guys, we here today to preview and recap week 4 of the NFL football and fantasy football season. And then we're going to preview week 5. And I'm going to get you ready to set your winning lineups. And hopefully you could take home a W this week. If you did not last week, but hopefully you did last week. And hopefully all the information I gave you out last Tuesday, all the information everybody else gave you, hopefully it all helped you get the W. So, guys, let's get right into it, and let's not waste any time with anything, because week 4 was a wild one, and it was a crazy one. So, let's talk about it. Christian McCaffrey, guys, was a man on a mission. This man had over 150 plus scrimmage yards. He had 4 touchdowns, and he scored 40 plus fantasy points. Justin Fields went out there and balled out for 3.5 quarters. But then, of course, the Chicago Bears do the Chicago way, and they always find a way to lose. So we'll talk about that, though. And then, guys, the biggest thing going on this week is the bye weeks begin. So we got teams on buys. We got to find guys to replace those guys that are on bye. So it is a lot going on. So let's get to it, guys. Those are the fantasy headlines. But before we get to everything else, let's talk about that Monday night football game between the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Giants. If you were not here with us, joining us last night, watching Monday Night Raw and Monday Night Football, we saw the Seattle Seahawks completely demolish Daniel Jones and the New York Giants. Daniel Jones had turnovers. He had fumbles. He had an interception. He had a pick 6. Seattle's defense definitely did their thing. Not so much on New York, though, but I will say I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Matt Breida for helping your boy Tino get 10 points, and that's all he needed to pick up the W and get the win in one of his leagues this week. So, Matt Breida, you helped me lead me to 3-1, so I appreciate it. But nobody really else did anything for the Giants. Daniel Jones, like I said, he had 3 turnovers. He didn't have a touchdown. His rushing yards is the only thing that saved him, and he had like 130 passing yards. Darren Waller barely did anything, and we thought Darren Waller was going to bounce back this year, but it's just not working out. And it looked like Brian Daboll, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it looked like he was about to rip Daniel Jones a new one. So the New York Giants are a disaster. But the Seattle Seahawks, on the other hand, DK Metcalf did his thing and had himself a very good game. Geno got hurt, but he came back into the game, and the Seahawks won. Kenneth Walker got himself a touchdown. He got one taken away where he fell on top of a guy. He ran 75 yards. They called it a touchdown, and then they called it back. So if that was going to be a touchdown, he probably would have got you another 15 points, and he would have got you 28 points total. So Kenneth Walker, he still had a touchdown. He had about 13.30 points, I think. So it's not bad, but it's not also that great. So, yeah. But that was the Monday Night Football game. As I said, the Seahawks won, the Giants lose, and yeah. So there's really not much to say about that Monday Night Football game. It wasn't that exciting, and we left here as soon as Raw was over because it wasn't that exciting of a game. But stuff that also is not exciting. Let's talk about these injuries that went down. We do have some good injury news on the other hand, though, because I do see Jadis in the chat talking about it. We do have Jonathan Taylor making his return. He is now off the PUP list, and it seems like he will be practicing today, tomorrow, and we may even see him in the lineup this week. So that is some good fantasy news, but bad fantasy football injury news. Kenny Pickett has an MCL strain, MCL something, that he's going to be out, they say, for at least a couple weeks, I think. So, again, as I always say, guys, this is only Tuesday. So you just have to keep an eye on it. And if there are any injuries that I miss, let me know, because I know there's been a lot of guys that get injured. I saw Kenneth Walker got hurt, or no, it was Kyren Williams got hurt from the Rams. Apparently he has a hip injury too, but it's not as serious. So as I always say, guys, just keep an eye on the injuries and see what happens with it. Because as I said, it is only Tuesday. The one guy that you really don't have to worry about, and his team already came out and said you won't have to worry about it, it is Justin Herbert. He has a finger injury on his non-throwing hand, and They do have a bye week this week, so that definitely will help. So I will give you guys later to go and start and stream if you do have Justin Herbert, but it's good that he does, and he does have a bye week this week, so he could heal up that injury as fast as possible. But they did say that he's not going to miss any time, so it must not be that serious of a problem. Matthew Stafford, he also has a hip injury. Matthew Stafford, Rams are getting Cooper Kupp back, but keep an eye on it and keep an eye and see what happens with Matthew Stafford. A wide receiver that we were trusting in Tampa Bay, Mike Evans, decides he pulls his hand. Well, he doesn't decide, but he pulled his hamstring on Sunday, and he's just going to have to keep an eye on it. Chris Godwin obviously got a lot of work into the game once Mike Evans left. So if you are a Chris Godwin owner, I think, Chris Godwin will be a good thing and see what happens. But the Buccaneers are also on a bye this week. So you won't have Mike Evans, and that might help, though, because then you're not forced to try to put him in your lineup, and you're worried that you're going to start somebody that is injured. Now they're on a bye. You have no choice but to sit him. Just like Austin Eckler, if you have Austin Eckler, he's on a bye week. Hopefully he heals up better, bigger, faster, stronger than ever this week, and he comes back the week after the bye. And hopefully us fantasy owners that drafted him like I did, we can start using him. So those are the injuries that I got going down here for this week. But if you guys do have any other more, or if you have any questions, as I always say, let me know in the comments. I'll answer every single one of them. We're going to go until we obviously go through all the information, and then I will get to your questions. So make sure you guys drop your questions in below. We got 5 people in here, but I only see 1 like. So if you have not yet, make sure to hit that like button. Let's get up to let's get 20 likes today, guys. I think we could hit another 20 likes. So make sure, if you have not yet, make sure to go and hit that like button. Go and subscribe. Join the conversation, and let's ask some good fantasy questions, and let me help you set your lineup for the week. So let's get into it, guys. And while we're talking about guys and everything like that, let's talk about now, guys, the 3 things that I learned coming out of week 4, going into week 5. And then we're going to talk about these disappointments. So the 3 things that I learned from this past week is that the Jets can play some football, guys. We were all worried about the Jets not being able to play football, and the Jets were going to be the team that we were all going to pick on. But they went out on Sunday night. They only lost the game to 3 points to the champion Kansas City Chiefs. Patty Mahomes didn't look like Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce out there with Taylor Swift in the skybox thing. He didn't have a phenomenal game. He only had 12 points. So the Jets can play. The Jets might not be the Jets that we all think about, and the Jets might be a good team. And maybe they are having the Aaron Rodgers effect, just in a different way. Brian Robinson, backfield. It's his backfield in Washington. Seems like he's getting more of the carries from and instead of Antonio Gibson. So if you're Brian Robinson, you better feel good starting him, because he does have a matchup against, you guys know, the Chicago Bears. So Thursday night football, Commanders probably going to beat the Bears. The Bears are never going to win a football game. I've just accepted that as a Bears fan. It's never going to happen, guys, and it is what it is. So Brian Robinson, start him this week on Thursday night against that awful Bears defense. Week by week. The last thing I learned, guys, you got to take this thing week by week. And I think I've said this before, and I've talked about it before, and I've talked about, everything like that, and how you just got to take it week by week. You can't get too upset. But, for example, last week, I went 3-0. I won every single one of my leagues, and I was doing good. I was feeling good. Everything was good. I was like, oh, yeah, here we go. We're going to go on a run. And then this week, I got lucky that Daniel Jones turned the ball over 7 times. 3 times to be exact. But if it wasn't for that, I would have lost, and I would have went 0-3. So take it week by week. Never get too excited. Never, try to think about what can happen this week. Try not to what happened last week. Because as you guys know also, the Miami Dolphins went out and scored 70 points against the Denver Broncos. And then they go out and score 20 against the Buffalo Bills. So just take it week by week. And those are the 3 things that I learned going in and coming out of week 4 and going into week 5. So now let's talk about a bunch of disappointments. And if you had these guys on your team, then you probably lost this week. And I had 3 guys on this list on one team, guys, and I lost this week. It's not a good time. So first, though, let's talk about Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers had 8 points. He was supposed to be the number one target in Baltimore, and we all thought he was going to be able to do his thing. But Zay Flowers just did not, and he was not able to. Ramondre Stevenson, he had 6 points, and I think it was more of because the Dallas Cowboys defense scored 1,000,000 points that it wasn't really Ramondre's fault, and I think that the Patriots will use him more, and he's got to have more than 6 points. And honestly, there's not really too many running backs we can really trust right now, and there's not too many running backs that, especially with the buys and guys like Austin Eckler out this week, Rachaad White, and everything else like that. There's not going to be too many running backs we can really trust. Calvin Ridley, guys, had a really good game week 1. Week 2 and 3, he had an okay week. And then this week, he caught a touchdown in London. As you guys know, we were live here on London on Sunday morning at 8:30 a.m. And Calvin Ridley, but if you take away that touchdown from Calvin Ridley, he really only has about 3 or 4 points. So I understand that everybody was all excited about what he was going to possibly be able to do. But it does look like that him not playing football as long as he did is catching up to him. So we have Miles Sanders also. Miles Sanders, the Carolina Panthers. Miles Sanders were traded to the Panthers. I know Jadis knows about Miles Sanders on his favorite team, the Eagles. Miles Sanders went out and only had 6.2 points. And, as I said a second ago, taking it week by week, sometimes these guys just have really good weeks. These guys have really bad weeks. It seems every week there's a new guy going off, and then the biggest waiver wire pick of that week doesn't do anything the following week. So it's like you just kind of missed your opportunity and everything else like that. So it's not very good, but Miles Sanders, you're going to be kind of forced to start. Now let's go through the 3 guys that I had on my team and that were just a complete disaster. First, we have Chris Olave from the New Orleans Saints. I understand Derek Carr was going in there with an injury, and I understand Derek Carr just wasn't feeling it, and he just wasn't doing his thing, and everything else like that. But, I think that Chris Olave will bounce back. At least I'm hoping he does, because 1.4 points guy ain't going to cut it for me, and I'm going to need you to do something to go out there and do better. So, Chris Olave, please score at least 10 points next week. Travis Etienne, we watched that game also in London. He got 10.2 points, and it's not even that was a bad game, but 10 points for a guy that we drafted probably is our RB2, depending on what type of a league you're in, maybe your RB1. 10.2 points ain't going to cut it, and Travis Etienne needs to start doing some more. Now let's talk about the guy I'm probably most worried about. I have him in 2 of my leagues. I'm stressing out, and I'm just not ready for it. So, Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals. I guess you need your calf to play football, right? I mean, I guess we should have realized that an injury would have stopped his improvement and everything like that. But just watching him go out there and play, because obviously I watch those games because he's on 2 of my teams, he just doesn't look good. He hasn't looked right. He doesn't look like he's going out there and wanting to, he doesn't look like the Joey B and the Joey Swagger that we all know and love. So he only had 7 points, and I don't want to do it, but I may have to sit him until he proves that he can score more than 7 points. And I don't have very many great backup options, but I'm going to have to figure something out, because I can't let Joe Burrow cost me my season. So if you have Joe Burrow, you're possibly going to have to pick up a different option and have to pick up somebody else. So those are the disappointments of week number 4. And I'm sorry, but if you had those guys, you probably struggled. But now let's get to the last thing that we do here now on Tino's Time for the last part of the recap of the week that we are recapping. And this week, obviously, it's week 4. Instead of the top 10 performances, we started a new thing last week where we take all the guys that were the best at each position and we build a perfect fantasy football lineup where if you had this lineup, you scored the most points and you're feeling really good right now. So let's go over this real quick. We got the perfect lineup scored 302 points. We had Josh Allen with 44.5. Christian McCaffrey, as I said earlier, scored over 40, and he had 48.7 to be exact. David Montgomery did his thing on Thursday night against those Green Bay Fudge Packers as he scored 34.1 points. A.J. Brown scored 38.5 points. Stephon Diggs, the only guy that actually saved me in one of my leagues, I still lost, but he still helped me do decently. A.J. Brown had 38.5 points. Stephon Diggs, 36 points. I said A.J. Brown twice. My bad. Cole Kmet. I was feeling really good after Cole Kmet scored that second touchdown. I was like, we riding, we sliding, we going. And then the Bears do what Chicago does, and they blew it. Nico Collins, though. Nico Collins might be the most underrated and most valuable player in the fantasy football so far. 4 weeks in, and this guy's killing it. Nico Collins, 35.8 points. And then last night on Monday Night Football, as you guys saw, Daniel Jones got picked. He got fumbled. He had a pick six. He got picked off again. It was not a good time for the New York Giants offense. So Seattle rounds up the perfect team as the defense with 35 points. So now that we recapped all of week 4, before we get into previewing week 5, let's get to the comments and let's see what everybody is saying. And Jadis, bro, it is only you. So let's see what Jadis has got to do. Where's everybody at today, guy? Nobody wants to come hang out, talk some fantasy football. What the heck, man? So, yeah. What's up, Jadis? What's up? Yes, sir. Jadis, I do pray that Chris. I don't know why. Why do I keep saying Chris? I really hope that Saquon Barkley plays. He says, I know Jonathan Taylor's off the pup list. Yes, he is. He is practicing. So, honestly, if you do have Jonathan Taylor, I feel like you have to start him. But take it as like, don't expect 30 points. If it happens, awesome. But just don't expect it because you're going to be let down on Sunday if you expect it. Most high-scoring game for this week and lowest-scoring game, I think Eagles-Rams could be. So, I don't want to say it, but I feel like the Sunday night football game may very well be the lowest-scoring game. Those defenses are disgusting, and I might be forced to start Brock Purdy. So, I'm not excited about it, and I'm praying that it's not. But does anybody watch these two defensive plays? Because they're really good. So I think that's the lowest scoring game of this week. And then I will answer your other question in a second. I do believe the Bengals are in trouble because they got to win a game. Joey B's got to go out there and ball out eventually. And they just got to figure out something because it's just not looking very good for them. So I'm praying, but it doesn't look good for them. And the highest scoring game of the week, Jadis, is I'm going to say the Chiefs and the Vikings to get it together. I don't know why they keep rushing Joe Burrow back from injury. Like, why? Yeah, honestly, Jadis, it would just make it easier for me if they would just tell me that he's out for a few weeks because then I wouldn't have to be forced to start him. Kenny Pickett has a bone bruise. That's good for the Steelers because everyone was probably looking at ACL because bone bruise. Yeah. So it is only a bone bruise. It's an MCL bone bruise. So we'll just have to see how it heals up. But I don't know if he'll be playing this week. Tino, Justin Fields had a good stat line last week. Can he do it? That's great. Have a great stat line. But I want to win a football game. If you guys trade Chase Claypool away, will you get anything? We're going to get the Bears are asking for like between like a 4th and 6th round pick. So nothing great. But Jadis, if you want to trade me Chase Claypool for Jalen Carter, Chase Claypool for Devontae Smith, Chase Claypool for Jalen Hurts, and A.J. Brown in a deal, what do you think? Chase Claypool, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. I like it. Giants do suck. They're really bad. And did you see the way Brian Daboll was talking to Daniel Jones? He was not having any of it. Oh, did you see Chargers, Raiders? One of the fans were fighting and the Raiders fan got punched and knocked out and they just kept going back and forth. Their rivals is no joke. Yep. I did see that. It was not good, bro. Reason I don't know why but they got to get it together. Yeah, they do. The Raiders are just falling apart, and they play next Monday night against the Green Bay Fudge Packers. So, shall be interesting. No, it's just a bone bruise. I think it's a bone bruise on the MCL. I think that's what it is. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't know why they do rush people back, because wouldn't you rather have them for like think about it. Imagine if the Bengals would have sat Joe Burrow for the first 3 weeks of the season. He probably would have started this week and played a lot better. So, I don't know. I don't think Zeke got a touchdown. Did he? I don't think he did. What is Cooper Kupp status? So that is another injury that I wanted to talk about, because it does look like Cooper Kupp will be returning this week. So who do I think that affects the most? I think that affects Tutu Atwell the most. I think Puka will be the number 2. Tyler Higbee, obviously. We got Kyren Williams, etc., etc. So I believe that that's what it is. And that's what, yeah. So we'll have to see what happens with Cooper Kupp, though. Will the Dolphins come back and get a win? They are playing the New York Giants, so they should. I picked up the Dolphins defense last week, so hopefully. Tre'Davious White is out for the season with an ankle injury. Thank you, Jadis. They got kicked in the mouth, bro. The Seahawks had 10 sacks. Yes, they did. Defensive touchdown. Bro, he threw his tablet right at him. He said, get that thing out of here. No, Gino, so I wanted to mention that. So yesterday, when I was watching the game, there was a fight. And there was something going on, and people were fighting. And I know one of the people that was fighting was Geno Smith. So I thought that the ref said disqualification, but instead it was just a flag, and then Geno went and got checked out for some type of an injury. So that's all that was. I thought he got ejected, but it didn't really happen. So, yeah. Matthew Stafford, he should, but he did show up on the injury report. So, yeah. Taylor Swift is ruining players' coverage. She's ruining. Jadis said she's. Jadis said Swifty's ruining football, guys. Is that true? Is Swifty ruining that football game? So funny. So, let's get into it. Jadis, see what A.J. Brown did? Bro, A.J. Brown destroyed the Commanders, bro. Bro, A.J. Brown destroyed the Commanders, but that don't mean nothing, bro. It's the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears can't do anything correctly. So, yeah. But, man, I don't know. So, but yeah. Jamar Chase was mad last week. He said, I'm always, yes, he did. I mean, he is always open. But, I don't know, Jadis. He said that's a bad deal. Obviously, it's a bad deal. Tre'Davious White has an ankle injury. I think it's an ankle. I don't think it's an Achilles, because I would have remembered the Achilles. So now, guys, let's go in and let's start previewing week 5, and let's get into and let's start doing all that good stuff. And then we will get back to all of your questions, your comments, your concerns. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Let me know what you guys are wanting. Let me know what you guys thought. You got any questions for your team? Let me know. But now let's get into the second part of the show as we preview the upcoming week. And now, guys, as I said in the headlines, it's time, and the bye weeks have officially begun. So let's talk about the teams that are on a bye and the guys that are going to be out of your starting lineups. We have the Cleveland Browns. We're going to be missing Deshaun Watson if you're starting him, Amari Cooper, David Njoku, Jerome Ford. We have the Los Angeles Chargers. We have Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, Josh Palmer, Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett. We got a lot of guys on the Chargers. We got the Seattle Seahawks, Kenneth Walker, Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. If you were starting Noah Fant for some reason. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have Chris Godwin, as I talked about earlier, Baker Mayfield, Rachaad White, Mike Evans, Cade Otton, depending on whoever their tight end is. I don't know why anybody would be starting them at tight end, but they are on a bye week. So Those are the 4 teams that are on a bye week this week. So if you have any of those players, you won't be able to start them. So now, guys, let's get into, and let's start off here as we always do with the preview. Let me give you my bold predictions for week number 5. And let's go back to week number 3, and let's see if we got any of them right. We have 50 points in this week. Tight end, 50 points this week. We did not hit that. We have Cards surprised the 49ers. That didn't happen. They kind of did for a second. And then I thought Tank Deli would go out and have 200 yards, but it did not happen. So I didn't get any of those right. So now let's get into the bold predictions for this week. I think we will have a 200-yard receiver again. If it's Tyreek Hill, if it's DJ Moore, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was very close last week. So I do believe we will have a 200-yard receiver this week. Bold prediction. Jadis, you ain't going to like this one very much, but I think the Rams upset the Eagles, and the Eagles are defeated this week against those Los Angeles Rams. Cooper Kupp's coming back. Kyren Williams. They still have Tutu. They got Puka, and I think the Rams can do it. And then my last bold prediction is I say that Justin Fields repeats what he did last week, and hopefully the Bears pick up a W. But I don't know about the W, but I do think that Justin Fields can repeat, especially after what we saw Jalen Hurts do, as Jadis just said, against those Washington Commanders. Don't mean the defense will play good, but Justin Fields will. So now let's get into the next thing on here, guys, and it's time to pick up those players, start them, sit them, and stream them. So now, guys, let's get into that line, and let's get into it. So we have it. Yeah, we got the waiver wire pickups. And then number 5, I want you to go. He played on Thursday night, and he's probably not out there, but it might not hurt to check. Go and get yourself a little piece of David Montgomery from the Detroit Lions. He is playing the Carolina Panthers this week. So David Montgomery, it doesn't look like Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be the guy that we thought he was going to be right away. So don't drop him or don't do anything crazy. But I think David Montgomery is the backfield to trust in Detroit. Isaiah Pacheco taking on the Vikings. That's what I was looking at. The Vikings, Isaiah Pacheco, as we talked about that Chiefs and Vikings game a little bit ago. Isaiah Pacheco has proven that he seems to be the number 1 running back. Clyde Edwards really wasn't involved. Jerick McKinnon wasn't involved, and it seems like a Pacheco, it's his backfield to lose. So Pacheco, go and get him. Khalil Herbert taking on the Commanders. Again, I don't know if he's out there, but I do believe that if somebody dropped him, I was able to get him in one of my leagues. Somebody did drop him, and they got very frustrated, and they dropped him. I picked him up, and I didn't start him, but I'd rather have 22 points on my bench than be facing 22 points, and then they lose. And then I lose. So Khalil Herbert, Washington Commanders, I think you should pick him up this week. Jaleel McGill, the guy we saw go out there and just carve up that Bears defense. I mean, I think anybody's going to carve up that Bears defense, but with Javonte Williams possibly being out now for a period of time, possibly Samaje Perine being involved, it seemed like McClanahan, however you say his name, it seems like he's the guy in the backfield for the Broncos. So if you have a running back issue and he's still out there, or you need to have a waiver wire pickup tonight, go and get that guy from the Denver. Honestly, not many guys I'm trusting from Denver. And again, this is like a last option because obviously there's not many running backs we can trust. So just go get them and see what happens. Now, my number 1 waiver wire pickup, I don't know if this guy's available. I don't know if he got drafted. But if he is, go check your lineup and go check your waiver wire right now. And you go put a bid in and you go put a claim in for Mr. C.J. Stroud of the Houston Texans. He's taking on the Atlanta Falcons this week, C.J. Stroud. He did his thing last week against the Steelers, and I think he's going to continue it against the Falcons. So if you need a streaming if you need a streaming quarterback this week, if you have Justin Herbert, Geno Smith, if you're starting Deshaun Watson, go and get yourself a piece of C.J. Stroud and feel good about starting them this week against the Falcons. So those are my top 5 waiver wire pickups for number 5, and for the guys I think you should go and get and you should pick up in your lineup. So now let's get to the starts, the sits, and the streams of week number 5. And as you guys know, we kind of changed it up a little bit this season. We are giving you the best options, I believe, at each position. And then next week, we're going to see how many guys that we got right that were on the perfect lineup. So my quarterback number 1 this week, it's Tua Tagovailoa taking on those New York Giants. Those New York Giants are just not a very good football team. They didn't do very good, and it just was not a very good time for them at all. So I think Tua is going to carve them up. I don't know if they're going to score 70 points, but I do believe that it will be very, very good. So yeah. We have Isaiah Pacheco taking on the Minnesota Vikings. As I just told you to pick him up, you pick him up and you start him in your lineup, and you have yourself a very good game. So go get Pacheco, pick him up if he's available. If you have him, start him, and let's go. Mark Andrews decided to show up again. We saw what the Houston Texans did to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now with Kenny Pickett in doubt, who knows what that offense is going to look like. And the Baltimore Ravens might have the ball a lot. So Mark Andrews might very well be your number 1 tight end. And if he does what he did last week, that's all we need from him. Now, the Dolphins defense. I told you to start Tua. I'm also telling you to start that Dolphins defense. That Dolphins defense is going to go out there and carve up Daniel Jones. Hopefully they have a stat line like the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe Daniel Jones fixes it, but I just don't know if I'm going to be able to trust it. And my wide receiver, I'm going to tell you to start this week. He's coming back from injury, and it's time to put him back in your lineup because you guys know how much Matthew Stafford loves him. And if he's in the lineup for the Rams, he's in the lineup for your fantasy football team. It's Cooper Kupp taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. As I said, Cooper Kupp plays for the Rams. He plays for your fantasy football team. So feel good about putting Cooper Kupp in your lineup and watch him go out there and just ball out on Sunday. Now, the sits for the week. We have Trevor Lawrence taking on the Bills. The Bills are just disgusting. Their defense is great. And I'm very worried about starting running backs this week. I'm worried about all my Jaguars this week. I may be forced to start Travis Etienne, but the Bills haven't been awful against the run, and Devon Achane actually had himself a decent game. So maybe you start the running backs, but you don't start Trevor Lawrence and the wide receivers. I just don't know how that game's going to go exactly. Remember, guys, that is in London at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. This week, it is on the NFL Network, so you will be able to watch it. We have the Packers running backs against the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders are not a very good football team. They're kind of a disaster, but the Packers running backs haven't really been trustworthy, and until I see them do something, I really don't know if I can trust Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon has just been god-awful, so yeah. Tutu Atwell, as much as I don't want to say to sit our guy Tutu, with Cooper Kupp coming back, I feel like Tutu's going to lose the most opportunities. And again, this is just for this week more than anything, just to see what the share is against and with Cooper Kupp back between Cooper, Higbee, Atwell, Puka, Kyren Williams. There's a lot of people going around in that offense. Now, I always tell you guys not to sit a tight end because the tight end position is just so hard to come by. I still don't know if you can sit a tight end unless there's a tight end. Like, I don't think you should be going out there and picking up some random tight end on the side of the road. But I don't think there's any tight ends that we could really sit here and say that you could sit them, because as we looked in the perfect lineup a little bit ago, Cole Kmet, nobody thought he'd be the best tight end last week. And look at him go out there and do his thing. So I think you can start most of your tight ends. The Broncos defense, I feel like this is going to be the week the Jets go out there and ball out, because the Broncos defense, no matter if they won on Sunday or not, they're still not a very good defense. And I think the Jets showed a lot on Sunday night, and I think the Jets can go out there and do their thing against the Broncos. Now let's get to the streams of the week, because if I'm telling you to take out guys, I got to tell you guys to put into your lineup. Now, this is a guy I may have to put into my lineup. I was able to get him off of the waivers last night after all the games went and they calculated and everything. Our waiver wire opens up in one of my leagues. So I went out and picked up Joshua Dobbs. He's taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, and I know the Bengals are still a decent defense, and the offense just isn't what it once was. But Joshua Dobbs went out there and carved up the Dallas Cowboys. He did his thing last week. The Cardinals are usually down, which means Joshua Dobbs has to throw it. He had 2 touchdowns to a little buddy of his. So Cincinnati Bengals, if you really need a quarterback, Joshua Dobbs might be an option. And Joshua Dobbs is more of an option for like a 10-team league, 12-team league, 14-team league, or like a 2-quarterback league. So go get Joshua Dobbs if you need a streamer. We got Jaleel McClanahan, or however the heck you say his name, taking on the New York Jets. The New York Jets are a disaster. They still are. And even though I said the Jets can possibly play good, and I did say the Jets are here to play, I still think that Jaleel McClanahan will have a good game. The Jets may be up, but if they're not, they got to run the ball. It could work in Jaleel's favor. So go and get him. Nico Collins has been one of the best wide receivers in the game in the first month of the season. And I think you start him. You start CJ Stroud. I can't believe I'm saying it, guys, but you start all your Texans. Can you give me a hell yeah? I guess so. Jake Ferguson with tight ends now beginning on a bye. Jake Ferguson has now had at least 7 catches. He's had a lot of things go down, and he's had a lot of things happen. So the Cowboys offense, they are going up against the 49ers, but I still do believe that Ferguson is a decent start this week if you need a streaming tight end. Now, the streaming defense I'm going to tell you to stream, just as long as the Carolina Panthers keep losing, I'm kind of happy because the Bears have the Carolina Panthers first pick next year in the draft. So as of now, the Bears have the first and second pick in the draft. So maybe it's a good thing. But the Lions taking on the Panthers, I do not believe it's going to be a very good day for the Panthers. Bryce Young just hasn't been able to get going. We talked a little bit about Miles Sanders yesterday. Honestly, the only guy I trust in that offense is Adam Thielen. And I can't believe it's 2023 and we're still relying on this guy. This guy's never going to go anywhere. But hey, he scores fantasy points. I'm all about it. So that's what I got for the waiver wire, the starts, the sits, and the streams. So now, before we go, we are now going to go and do our last thing here as we do the NFL pick'ems and our 3 guarantees. But first, water break. So now let's go through the picks and let's go through and let me tell you who I had and what we had going down and what my record was from last week, and then we'll go over this week. So last week we took the Jaguars. We took the Broncos because I finally said, I was like, let's just take the Broncos and see if that helped. Well, the Broncos won. We took the Indianapolis Colts. I took the Colts. We took the Bengals. The Bengals lost. We took the Chargers. They won. We took the Saints. They lost. So we are 2-3. I took the Ravens 3-3. Bills 4-3. Vikings 5-3. Texans 6-3. Eagles 7-3. Cowboys 8-3. Niners 9-3. And the Chiefs 10-3. I did good this week. I went 10-3. Hey now, guys. Tino did good this week. So I'll take it. Remember, we'll be live for SmackDown. Oops. But 10-3, not bad. Not bad. I don't think that's bad. 10-3. So now, guys, let's go to week 5 and let's preview these games and let's see what we got going down and who we got picking and what we got happening. So we got a bunch of comments in the comments. So guys, keep commenting. We will be doing this last thing and then we will be getting to your comments. So yeah. So let's go through these games real quick. We got the Commanders and the Bears on Thursday night. I'm going to stick with not taking the Bears, and I'm going to take the Washington Commanders to win. Panthers and Lions. Let's go the Lions. Chiefs and Vikings. Let's take the Chiefs. We got the Fudge Packers and the Raiders. Let's take the Raiders. Raiders all day, I guess. We got the Jaguars and the Bills. Let's go Bills. We got the Texans and the Falcons. Let's go Texans. We got the Colts and the Titans. I'm going to be bold here and take the Colts to win. Giants and Dolphins. Let's go Dolphins. We got the Saints and the Patriots. Let's go Saints. We got the Ravens and the Steelers. If Kenny Pickett is out, I feel like the Ravens are going to demolish them. So let's go the Ravens. We got the Eagles and the Rams. Even though I was being a little bold earlier, I'm still going to take the Eagles to win. We got the Bengals and the Cardinals. And let's say the Bengals win. We got the Jets and the Broncos. Let's take the Jets to win that game somehow. Cowboys and 49ers. The game we will be live here, guys, for on Sunday this week. Remember, we will be live here on Sunday Night Football, that is, for the 49ers and the college Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys. You guys got to wait all night till Sunday night to see your boy Tino. Come and hang out with Tino, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Carrie Underwood, Dak Prescott, as we watch the Sunday Night Football game. But in this one, I'm going to say that the San Francisco 49ers pull it out. And that is how I'm going to see, and that is what I'm going to take. And then, as I said, guys, that's the Sunday night game. And I already gave you my prediction for the Monday night game, which is the Packers and the Raiders. So we'll have to see how all that goes. But we got the returning Davante Adams going to Green Bay. We got a lot of decent matchups this week, which is going to be another fun week in the NFL, guys. So, yeah. But now let's get to the comments. Let's see what everybody's saying before I give you and before I tell you my guarantees. And then we say goodbye until we come back here, obviously tonight, to watch the fallout of NXT No Mercy. So, yeah. Jay Jamar, let's see. I lost where the thing was at. Justin Fields, okay, if you have Eagles. He said, okay, if you have Eagles losing this week, I just want the Cowboys to beat the Niners because the 49ers are the only team if they win or lose. And I was being bold. I didn't say they were going to win. I was just I was throwing out a bold prediction. Hey, congratulations to our guy Chris getting a second interview at McDonald's. Good stuff, Chris. Miguel Cabrera just finished the last game of his MLB season. Big shout out. Thank you, Miguel Cabrera, for always beating up on the White Sox and always having a good time. You know Dunkin' Donuts has ice spice drink, and Wendy has a fall. I do know that. I do not like any of that. Thoughts on Zach Wilson's performance on Sunday, and what do you think Garrett Wilson rest of the season? If Zach could keep this up, I think he would do very well. I think the biggest problem with him is just being able to go out there and do it. Like, I feel like with him, to be honest, I feel like it's like in his head. Like, I feel like it's a lot of mental. I feel like it's a lot of different types of things that if he could figure it out, and maybe it's the Aaron Rodgers effect. I said it earlier. Maybe it's the Aaron Rodgers effect. Maybe him just being there is helping Zach Wilson a little bit. And, you know, maybe that's what Zach needs. Zach probably needed a guy like that. I mean, look at what Jordan Love has done. As much as I don't like those Green Bay Fudge Packers, Jordan Love has still went out there and done very good with what he's done the first 4 weeks of the season. Obviously, he didn't have a great game on Thursday, but he had a decent game. And I think Zach Wilson, if he could do that, I think Garrett Wilson could also become finally fantasy relevant again. What if the Bears, what if Caleb Wilson goes to the Steelers? They need a quarterback. Honestly, Jadis, I was seeing rumors the Bears are going to trade Justin Fields. I mean, I don't know, bro. He's taking the Cardinals. Troll. You're taking the Cardinals to beat the Bengals. I'm just going to be bold. Maybe they win. Probably not. Joey Votto is probably going to retire. Joey Votto is another guy. Big shout out to Joey Votto because I've been watching Joey Votto since I was like 13 years old. And Joey Votto, all those guys that I watched growing up and everything like that, it sucks to see them go. But we got to realize that they have a better life and everything like this. And I'm sure we're going to see him in the playoffs announcing. I'm sure we're going to see him go and do his thing, this and that. So Joey Votto, he's going to be missed. He'll be missed so much. Can't wait to see what he does. Like I said, maybe we'll see him in the press box or whatever, wherever the announcers go, and we'll have to see. But Joey Votto, congratulations on a great career. Jadis says, I think the Bears will win this week. Doubt it. Doubt doing it. Yes, future Hall of Famer. So, guys, that's all the comments in the chat. We got one more thing to do here, and then I'm going to go over the schedule. I'll go over the last chats, and then we're going to head out here for the last of the day. So, my last thing that we do here is my 3 guarantees of week number 5. I still can't believe we're in week number 5 already, guys. That's crazy. So, I guarantee you the Cowboys versus 49ers is going to be the best game of the weekend. Guarantee it. Also, I guarantee you the Dolphins bounce back. The Dolphins are going to bounce back versus the New York Giants. Maybe the Giants play a little better than they did on Monday, but I don't know how much better. And we've seen this Dolphins team. They're disgustingly good. So, the Dolphins. And I'm just going to say it now, guys, my last guarantee, because I don't want to hear nobody tell me it all week. I don't want to hear about it on Thursday. I don't want to hear about it on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I already know the Chicago Bears are going 0-5. A big goose egg. The Bears aren't going to have a win. I know the Bears aren't winning. I don't expect it to. So, guys, I love you so much. But let's not come on here and make fun of Tino because all of his sports teams suck. So, I guarantee you the Bears are going to lose. I've accepted it. They're going to be 0-5, and it is what it is. So, I guarantee you it. Don't doubt. Exactly why. I don't doubt it. So, guys, that is everything that I have here for you, though, for the recap of week 4. The preview of week 5. Remember, as I always tell you, it is only Tuesday, so we'll have to see what happens and everything that will be going down, this and that. But it is only Tuesday, as I say. So just keep an eye on the injury report, keep an eye on everything like that, and just see what happens with everything. So, guys, remember, we will be live here tonight for NXT, as it is the fallout of No Mercy. We have a new NXT champion in Ilja Dragunov. We have ourselves a still champion in Becky Lynch. We have Trick Williams' new North American champion. He's putting that title on the line against Mr. Dom Mysterio. We got Gigi Dolan in action. We got Baron Corbin. And we got the whole NXT roster. So, guys, come and hang out tonight as we go live the same time, same place, 7 o'clock as we watch NXT. So, that's what we're doing here tonight. Remember that. We got 2 more comments. What happens when the Bears... If the Bears win, the Bears win. That's great. But until they do, and until they can put together a complete baseball... I'm watching the baseball playoffs. A complete football game and actually win, I'm not saying anything else, and I'm just picking the Bears to lose. I love my Bears. I always will. But I just cannot deal with it. So, guys, that is all I got for you. As I said, remember that we will be live here tonight for NXT. Remember to go and follow all the social medias here on Tino's Time. Go get yourself some merchandise on bonfire.com. Become a member of the channel. Leave a super chat or 2, all that good stuff. If you can't, though, I completely understand. But if you need to, I need you to do, if you can, if you need to, I need you guys to do this. If you can, I need you to hit that like button. I need you to subscribe on the road to 2K, as we are only 31 subscribers away to 1,300. So if you have not yet subscribed, join the conversation. If you have any other more questions, drop them in the comments. I will definitely answer them for you. If you got any fantasy questions, you got anything else like that, let me know. But, guys, do those 2 things. And lastly, make sure you turn that notification button on so you know when new episodes, shorts, and everything else come out. Guys, have a great rest of your Tuesday afternoon, and I will see you all here live tonight at 7 p.m. for NXT, as it's the fallout of No Mercy.